Hey everybody, welcome to Geeks for Geeks. I am Chaitanya Munje, and in this video we will be learning how to create a simple QR code scanner and QR code generator application in Flutter. QR code is also known as quick response code, and it is being used in most of the payment application as well as many other applications to encode a specific data in the QR code format. Now I have already created a sample application, so we will quickly take a look at the output of this application. So first we will scan a QR code. So we'll simply click on scan code, and here we can get to see the data collected from it as a Geeks for Geeks, which I have already added above as Geeks for Geeks. Now similarly we will be generating our code, so we'll simply click on generate code, and here we will specify the data for which we have to generate the code. So we'll simply click on generate QR code. This will generate our QR code. Now we will start creating this project. So for that, firstly we will be opening our Android Studio. Then we will be creating a new Flutter project. We will select the SDK path as it is. Then next, here we will specify our project name. Then click on finish to create the new project. Now once our project has been created, we can get to see the main.dart file has been already open. Before moving forward, firstly we will be adding the dependencies which will be used for scanning as well as generating our QR code. So for that we have to go to perspec.yaml, and inside this we have to go to the dependencies section, that is this one. After this Cupertino, we will be adding the dependencies. So the first one will be for QR Flutter. After that, next we will be adding for QR code scanner, or we will be using it as a barcode scanner, that is Flutter barcode scanner. After adding these dependencies, we have to simply click on pubget. Now this process has been finished. So we will go to our main.dart file, and firstly we will remove this. We will be creating this once again. We will be changing the title of our application. QR code scanner and generator. After that, we will be adding debug check mode banner, and we will be changing its visibility to false. Then after, we will be creating a separate class for our home page, which will be our stateful widget. We will be naming that class as a home page, and we will be calling that class here for our home page. Now inside this home page, instead of container, we will be adding a scaffold. Inside scaffold, firstly we will be adding our app bar. Inside this, we will be adding the title as text. Then we will be adding the background color for our app bar. After that, we will be adding the body. Inside this, we will be firstly creating a center widget, and inside that we will be creating a child as column. Inside column, firstly we will be adding main axis alignment. Then we will be calling the children's that is children, for our column. Inside this, we will be firstly creating our elevated button. This button will be for our scan QR code option. Inside child, we'll be creating a text. For text, we will be specifying the text as scan QR code. And inside on press, we will be calling set state. And inside this, we will be simply calling navigator.push. We will be creating this when we have created the separate Dart file for our scan QR code and generate QR code. After that, we will be calling it here. Now, after creating this one button, we will be creating a size box for adding the spacing. Here we will be specifying height as 40. Then we will be creating one more elevated button. Inside this as well, we will be specifying the child as text. Inside text, we will be specifying the text as generate QR code. Inside on press as well, there will be the same code which we will be using above. Now we will be creating two separate Dart files, one which will be for scanning the QR code and one will be for the generating. So we will go to lib. Here we will simply right click, new, then Dart file. So this will be our first one. Then we will be creating one more for scan QR code. So firstly we will be creating the stateful widget, that is the class. We will specify the class name as generate QR code. So this one generate QR code will be inside the generate QR code file. So we will simply copy paste and here it will be the scan QR code. Now we will simply be calling this two files here. So inside navigator.push, inside this set state, we will be calling navigator.off context and we will be calling our scan QR code. Scan QR code class here. Similarly, we will be calling the navigator.push, navigator.off material page route, generate QR code. Now we will firstly go to our generate QR code file and inside that, instead of container, we will change it to scaffold. Then we will be creating the app bar. We will add title to app bar. Generate QR code. Then inside body, we will be firstly adding the child as center. Inside this, we will be adding the child as single child scroll view. Inside this, we will be adding the column. In the column, we will be firstly specifying main axis alignment. As center. Then we will be adding different children. So inside this children, firstly we will be checking So for that we have to create a text editing controller for our edit text. So we'll be creating the text editing controller as well, as we are using edit text for getting the data from user. So we'll be using text editing controller, and we will name the controller as URL controller. So this will be our controller. Now inside the children, here firstly we will check if our controller text URL controller is not empty. If URL controller dot text is not empty. If it is not empty, then we will be simply calling QR image, and inside this we will be specifying the data as we will be getting the data from our URL controller dot text, and we will specify the size of our QR code generated as 200. Then after we will be adding the size box, specify the height as 10. After this size box we will be creating a container. Inside this container we will be adding the padding. Page insets dot only we will be adding left and right padding. After this padding we will be creating a child as text field for getting the data from user. Then we will be specifying the controller for this text field as our URL controller. After that we will be adding the decoration as input decoration. Then we will specify the hint text for it and specify hint as enter your data. After that we will be adding border radius. We will be adding border as outlined border. Outline we will be calling outline input border. Inside that we will be specifying the border radius as border radius as 15. After that we will be adding the label text as enter your data. After this container we will be adding a size box. We will be specifying the height again as 10. After that we will be creating a elevated button. And inside child we will be simply adding the text as generate QR code. Inside this elevated button we are not specifying any action, because inside this QR image widget it takes the data from the controller edit text automatically and then generate the code accordingly. So we only have to notify this QR image whether the data from our edit text has been updated or not. If it is empty, then it will not display the QR image, but when we click on button it will check whether the edit text is empty or not, and then according to it will display our QR code. So that's why we are not adding any on click action for our elevated button. Now we will move towards scan QR code. Inside this, here firstly we will change the container to scaffold. Then we will create app bar. We will specify the title. QR code scanner. We will be adding the body to it. Inside this, we will be creating child as column. We will specifying the main axis alignment. Inside children, firstly we will be calling the size box with height of 30. Then we will be creating a text. Inside this, we will be specifying the data which we get from our scanned result. Then we will be adding the style. We will be specifying the color inside our text style, that is color as colors.black. After that, we will be adding the one more size box, specifying the height as 30. Then an elevated button for scanning the data. Inside this text, we will specify the text as scan code. Now for onPress, we will be creating a separate method, and for displaying this text, we will be creating a string variable. So for that, we will be creating a string. So this will be our default message if the code is not yet scanned. So we will call this QR result in place of data. Now for onPress, we will be creating a separate method. As future void scan QR, and we will be calling this method in place of onPress. Now inside this method, we will write the code for scanning our QR code. So for that, firstly we will be calling the try, and we will be adding the handling the exception as platform exception, and in this case we will simply change the result to fail to read QR code. And in the try block, we will be simply creating a variable QR code as a final. We will be calling Flutter barcode scanner. Firstly, we have to import this library. Then we will be calling scan barcode, and inside this, firstly we have to specify the line color in which the line should appear. So we will be specifying the line color as this will be our line color. Then we have to specify the text for our cancel button as cancel. Then we have to whether we have to display the flash icon which appears at the bottom. So we will specify it as a true that we have to display the flash icon, and we have to specify the scan mode whether it is a QR or a barcode. So there is a QR and a barcode 2 mode, so we will specify it as a QR. After that we will check whether it is mounted or not. If it is not mounted, then we will simply return, and we will be calling set state. Inside that we will simply initialize the result to our QR result. QR code. Now we have completed the scan QR code as well, and generate one. We have completed the coding part. We will run the application to see. We will run our project to see the output of our application. If we are getting this type of error, that is cannot run with sound null safety, so we have to click on this, and we have to click on main.dart, and we have to simply click on edit configuration, and we have to add additional run arguments. We will simply click on apply and then OK, and we will run our project once again. Inside the generate QR code, as we are getting the QR image from our URL controller, so we have to call set state. So when the user clicks on the button, we will be calling set state, so that the image will be updated automatically. Now we will run our application once again to see the output of it. Now we will take a look at the output of our application. Now inside our application, we can get to see two buttons, that is scan QR code and generate QR code. So firstly we will scanning our QR code. As we click on scan code button, our code has been scanned and we can get to see output as GeeksforGeeks. Along with that, we have also seen that there is a flash icon as well as a cancel button present. Now we will go to generate QR code option, and here we will specify the data as GeeksforGeeks. Then we will simply click on generate QR code. So the code will be generated. Now we will change it to Geeks. The code will be updated. So in this way we have built our QR code scanner as well as generator. So if you are having any doubts regarding what I have explained in this video, do ask in the comment section. For complete code, refer the articles in the description given below, and thanks for watching.